Okay, we should be live. I apologize about the delay, but I'll make sure everything is all working, and then we can get started. Is the audio working? Oh, it is. Okay, we're good. Alrighty, 1 second here. All right, cool. We're ready to roll. We've got the conference championships today. What's good, SGYT? The games. Dan, how we doing, everybody? Also in the title, I added NFL free agency live reactions because NFL free agency is kind of happening right now. I assume there's going to be moves within the next hour and a half during our stream. If not, that'd be kind of sad. But we've got two pretty good games today. Have we not simmed the week? It doesn't really matter because we've gone through all the games. But let's sim the week so we can get a visual. Okay, here we go. So in the NFC, we have the top two seeds, the Monarchs, facing off against the Washington Commanders. And then in the AFC, we have the Texans and New England. Four coaches who have never won a championship, but they've all been proven to be pretty good coaches. One of them will win a ring. And that'll be on Wednesday, the OFL Bowl. Keep in mind. What's good, Pokemon? Nick, C-Mill, Jax, Little Jaw. I'm sad about the G-Men doing nothing. Well, winning free agency isn't always a good thing. So I wouldn't really worry about it. Signing players just to sign players is not how you win championships. As we saw with Dave Gettleman multiple times. I was thinking of the one offseason where they had Janoris Jenkins and Olivier Vernon and all those guys, but what about Kenny Golladay too? The Jets, on the other hand, I feel like have reason to be not as happy for obvious reasons. Doing my coin flip bracket right now. Jesse Bates just signed with the Falcons, according to Ian Rappaport. What's the number going to be there? That's going to be some big money. So now the Bengals need two new safeties. Because they already lost Von Bell, also to the NFC South with Carolina. But let's have Siri pick our game here. This will be 2, and this will be 3. Changing it up today. Siri, give me a number between 2 and 3. 2!
The answer is 2.
So we'll be starting in the AFC with the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. Siri, give me a number between 543 and 544.
The answer is 543.
Okay, that's the road team, which is New England. Coin flip just had Howard over Kansas. I'm afraid the coin flip does not know ball. While the committee also doesn't know ball for having Houston above us, meaning we didn't get to pick the Midwest, which is stupid, and we have all the good West teams other than Arizona. So both coaches are here. I'm pretty sure all 4 conference championship coaches are here, so that's pretty cool. But if Dan and Seaman want to pick your jerseys, go right ahead. Octi player, Nix, Caramel. Yeah, your guy is Caramel. Caramel. 16 a year for Jesse Bates. That sounds about right. How many years? Probably 4, 5 maybe? I'd guess 4. 4 for 64. Alex Anzalone, 3 years, 18.75 back to the Lions. That feels a little rich. I mean, he wasn't that bad. I don't mind bringing him back. I don't know. 6 is a lot. He's not that bad. I guess it's fine. He is the captain of the defense, so it's not the end of the world, but I feel that's a little rich, especially considering Jermaine Pratt only got $7 million a year for 3 years. I would choose Jermaine Pratt over Anzalone pretty easily. But I guess it's fine. Good to have veterans on the linebacking core rather than overdraft them. Same as last time. Okay, so red helmets. Wrong controller. Red helmets. Was it just this? Red helmets, blue jerseys, and white pants, or was it the other way around? I think it was this. And then Dan says you pick. Oh boy. Well, we can't really have them wear blue because the Texans are kind of wearing blue already. Do we want the Patriots to wear red or white? That's not white. That's white. That's not white. Do you guys want red or white for New England? The red throwbacks. These ones. This is my vote. Picks for shoes. Which shoes? Isn't it a different colored socks too? Isn't it the white socks? What did the Lions sign him back for? 3 years, a little bit under 19. Red socks? Oh, there they are. Yeah, Jesse Bates gets 4 years for 64. That's a lot of money, but he's a really good player. Falcons are making moves to improve that defense. They're trying to win games next year, as they should, because that division sucks balls. All right, we're all good with this. Let's ride. Who will represent the AFC in the OFL Bowl? We have the number 1 seeded 14-win Houston Texans, who have looked a little bit head and shoulders above everybody in the conference, but don't sleep on these New England Patriots. We've watched them twice in the playoffs. They've looked good in both games. Wow, they even had the AFC Championship trophy there. That's pretty cool. But these are two really good teams. I could see either of them winning an OFL Bowl. I could really see New England getting an upset here, although I think the Texans, with Sean Tucker, our Lord and Savior, are probably a little bit better. But I could really see this game going either way. I could see both games going either way. I could really see anybody winning the OFL Bowl, and I don't think there's like a clear favorite, so that's fun. Now Daxton Hill is the new starter. Daxton Hill was like my 15th ranked player last year. Does that mean I need to start a Daxton Hill agenda? He wasn't great as a rookie, but I like him. I think he can be quite good. So he'll now have a full-time role. He's a guy I would have wanted us to target had we stayed at 32, which obviously we didn't because, you know, JMO and all that. Here's Josh Allen leading the way for the New England offense. He's played quite well in both playoff games. In the one, I don't think he threw an incompletion. I have a video of me blocking Dax Hill in a playoff high school game. Well, I guess Dax Hill isn't that big, but probably for a high schooler, he's probably quite athletic, so I guess that's still impressive. Daxton Hill and maybe I assume they would have someone else different alongside him. Probably a vet. Although they could always look for the draft as well, but what safety you're going to draft in the first round? Antonio Johnson? So I would expect him to look for a veteran. Here's a big play for New England. Hello! Down at the 29. He's the fastest thing I've ever seen. That sounds about right. NFL athleticism at its finest. Josh Allen is sacked. Rashawn Gary had a field day against the Steelers, and that was, I didn't even think that was Rashawn Gary. I was just trying to make a point. But it is Rashawn Gary who makes another play. Hi, Octi. Sorry I have been here. Yeah, I cannot speak. Yeah. Sorry I have not been here a lot. Don't worry about it, Denmark. It's all good. That should have been intercepted. We should do the OFL Bowl. Or are we doing the OFL Bowl today? We are not. We're just doing the conference championships, and the OFL Bowl will be on Wednesday. I think the Bengals should honestly release Burrow and Chase, only under the condition that they sign to Detroit for the league minimum. My final four in the coin toss bracket is Princeton, Kentucky, Iowa State, and ASU Nevada. Yuck. Yeah, let's see a Nevada Cinderella run. Woohoo. New England tacks on 3, so they're on the board. You guys can have them. Perfect. That sounds lovely. Now DJ Chark can go off and sign wherever he wants. We don't need him back anymore. Although I guess spending $11 million on Cam Sutton doesn't really help his case to return. ASU and Nevada beats Kentucky. The coin flip wants to double its chances, so they're picking 2 teams, even though that's not how it works. But the coin flip's trying to get cute. Cam Sutton, great man corner. He's versatile. He can play in the nickel, and he can play outside. So I'm really excited about having him on our defense. He is instantly our best corner, which I guess doesn't really say a whole lot. But, oh, fumble! And it's picked up by New England. We'll see if he was down. But that could be a huge turnover. Sean Tucker not pleased about that one. It was kind of hard to tell, but I almost feel like the ball did come out before he was down. That's not a great angle, but I don't know. I just feel like it was a fumble. Yeah, they're not going to review it, so that means it is a fumble. Can the Giants get DJ Chark to replace Slayton? I hope not, because that would imply that DJ Chark is not on the Lions next year, but I suppose he'd be a slight upgrade. Got cold feet about Baylor. I haven't even made my official bracket yet. Normally, like, right when the bracket comes out, I make one. I'm trying to, like, think about it this year, and I'm probably going to do it later today. The only thing I really know is who I have winning the whole thing, which I think I've made that abundantly clear multiple times. But I don't know how to feel about Baylor. I think UCSB could be a tough matchup in the first round. Don't they have a tough 6 with them, too? Isn't it Kentucky? I forget who their 6 is, but I'm pretty sure it's Kentucky. And Providence would be a tough game, too, if Providence wins. So Baylor's got some work to do. I think they would see either Arizona or Marquette. I think Marquette in the Sweet 16. Again, I could be wrong. So the Patriots score, by the way, they now lead 10-0. Creighton, NC State. Creighton's interesting because they had the talent to go on a big run. They had that slump early in the year, but I could definitely see Creighton beating Baylor. I think Baylor's really good, but I don't know how much I fully trust them. The Buccaneers are going to trade Shaq Barrett, 19, Trask, and their first next year to Indianapolis to 4 to get Richardson. Can they please not? I kind of need Anthony Richardson to fall to 6 so he can be with us, please. He's probably not falling to 6, but I can hope. What's the thoughts on UCLA? Originally, I was scared about UCLA being the 2 seed, but I forgot that Jalen Clark was hurt, so that kind of changes some things. If Clark was healthy, I think UCLA can really beat anybody. Without him, I think they could still win the national title, but it's obviously going to be a lot harder. And I don't know how I feel about Gonzaga being in our region, because Gonzaga usually disappoints, and they're worse this year, but I don't know if we have the size to keep up with Drew Timme. As much as I like KJ Adams, I mean, the guy's 6'7". So, are we going to be able to hold Timme time? Looks like the Texans are starting to move it a little bit. I mean, their last drive was, what, 1 play? And they turned the ball over? Is the 2024 receiver class any good other than Marvin? You're more of a college ball guy. I assume Xavier Worthy's probably ranked pretty high. Marvin Harrison's teammate, Emeka Ibuka, is really good. Biasedly, Troy Franklin, go Ducks. And there are probably a couple other guys who aren't coming off the top of my head, but those are the ones who I would say are probably going to be ranked pretty highly. Although Nick knows, since he has access to the draft class. The Steelers are signing Patrick Peterson. Nice little mentor for Joey Porter Jr. So the Steelers downgraded a corner today. Poor souls. Although I would assume Patrick Peterson probably costs less than Cam Sutton at this point. Certainly won't get 3 years, presumably. Kent State over Indiana and Arkansas. I think Kent State's really interesting. I feel like Indiana's a team who has big upside to make a run, but I kind of want to pick Kent State. I like their chances as a Cinderella to surprise some people. That, like, top right region is really fascinating. Because there are some good Cinderella teams, but some good high seeds too. I feel like Texas is probably the team to beat there. Obviously, Houston's really good. I think Indiana can make a run, but Kent State in the first round is really tough. And then Miami Drake is kind of fun too. Obo Okoronkwo signing with the Browns, 3 years, 19. Is Obo the Texans one? Ogobonia? I assume that's him. That's a nice deal for Cleveland. He's a good player. I didn't know he went by Obo, though, but I guess that's his nickname because he has a long first name. Texas strikes me as a team who will make either the Final Four or lose to Colgate. If Texas loses on the first weekend, I would be pleased. I am actively preying on Texas's downfall, and unfortunately, I think I could see them making a run, but I don't know if I could see them winning the whole thing. But I think they're a legit 2 seed. But Colgate's solid for a 15. They could give Texas a little run for their money. Anyone else think the Bears are going to regret spending this much? I hope so, because I'd rather not have the Bears become good. But I think most of the moves they've made have been pretty good. I think the Nate Davis contract is a really good one. They paid a lot of money for Tremaine Edmonds, who's an off-ball linebacker, but he's a good player and he's young. So oftentimes free agency quote-unquote winners don't end up being winners when it's all said and done, which I hope is the case with the Bears, because I'd rather not have them good. But I think on paper they have made some good moves. And they still have money left. As the Texans can't punch it in. 7 carries, 8 yards for Sean Tucker. Oof. And the Texans are just going to kick. Who's going to have the more exciting offseason? The Bears in real life or the OFL Chargers? Probably like 5 or 6 OFL teams over the Bears. The Bears are moving like the Jags last year. I feel like everyone's going to compare the Bears to the Jags, but you have to remember the Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars have Doug Peterson. The Bears don't have those things. Now, Justin Fields could take a step, but it's bold to assume he'll get at the level of Trevor Lawrence. And the Jaguars also went from an awful coach to a really good one. So, although the NFC North on paper is not great, the Packers are probably going to be worse, the Vikings are probably going to be worse. And who knows about us? I think we should be good, but who knows? But you don't build through free agency. Exactly. Building through free agency is quite risky. Because oftentimes players don't perform. Oh dear, Rashawn Gary's hurt. Players don't perform with their contracts. Players get older and regress. And one of the things I really like about Brad Holmes is he doesn't give out long-term deals. He doesn't give out 4 or 5 year contracts to guys who aren't like really, really good. Which is always something that I never understood. Why are teams so willing to give out 4-year deals to players who are like not great? Like obviously you're projecting them to be really good, but oftentimes it doesn't really work out. Fun while it lasted. You're down by 7. Let's not get too crazy. Josh Allen's going to look to run with it, and he gets nothing. Vikings should just get rid of Justin Jefferson and bring him to Baltimore. Get him out of the division. I'm cool with that. Who would Minnesota's new number 1 receiver be? KJ Osborne? Oh, fumble! Texans at the ball, though. That could have been bad. No KJ. KJ Osborne's not a bad player, and didn't he just save someone's life? He's a cool dude, clearly. But I don't know if I'd want him as a number 1. Maybe a number 3. What are the chances Vermont upsets Marquette? Vermont's not bad for a 15, and I don't know how much I trust Marquette. So, that'd be a fun upset. They could be our new St. Peter's, although I feel like St. Peter's is a little more under the radar. KJ Osborne gets traded, and they give a max fully guaranteed to Jalen Reagor. Pat Pete, 2 years. How much money did he get per year? I'm going to guess 9. Oh, it doesn't say yet. 2 years, 18. That's my guess. Leak more of the OFL offseason script. I don't have the script. I just had people telling me what they were going to do. Two years, 15. I could see that. I don't think that he's going to get more than Cam Sutton. That'd be pretty stupid to choose him over Sutton. But I think he'll get a decent amount. He's still a solid player. The Giants signed Raheem Nunez-Roches. That is league changing. Super Bowl champs soon. Clearly, you know it all. I guess that is true. You know who doesn't know it all? The Texans' offense. They don't look good. Isn't Pat Pete like a grandpa? Yeah, but he's still, like, not awful. What are your sources? Me. I'm the source. I'm him. There's a nice play past the 50. New England appears to be moving it. Lamar said he'd play under the tag. That surprises me because Lamar didn't want to play under the tag at the end of last year. Obviously, he was probably hurt, so you can't fully blame him. But I would assume he also wanted to preserve himself, which is understandable. He's got hundreds of millions of dollars on the line. But even so, I'd be surprised if he plays under the tag. I think he's going to try to do his best to get a long-term deal. Whether it's with Baltimore, which I think is the most likely outcome. Why didn't the Lions sign Jesse Bates or Tremaine Edmonds? Because Jesse Bates and Tremaine Edmonds signed for a lot of money. Like, a lot. We paid 2 starters, Cam Sutton and Alex Anzalone, the same price that one of them would have gone for. So, while Sutton and Anzalone aren't necessarily stars, we don't need to sign stars. It'd be cool to have one of those guys on the defense, but Brad Holmes is clearly trying to rebuild the right way and not rush things and hand somebody at a position that has not so much positional value, like off-ball linebacker and safety, a huge deal. So, yeah, it would have been cool to have a Pro Bowler on the defense, but I think he's managing this smart. Oh, wow, we're almost at the 2-minute warning already. So New England's looking good on both sides of the ball. They're up by 7. They're probably going to score again. 3 years, 30 for Nate Davis. That happened like an hour ago. Where have you been? But, yeah, I thought that was a good move by the Bears. I would have gladly paid him that to play right guard. We would have the best offensive line in the league. Josh Allen floats it up. Nice throw and catch for the score by Courtland Sutton. No relations to Cam. And the Patriots make it a 2-score lead. The Texans got to respond here. So when's Tannehill getting cut and being signed by the Atlanta Titans? They might as well just trade for Derrick Henry too. Although they have baby Derrick Henry already. The Texans do start off with the ball in the second half. So while they're not out of it, I think scoring here is kind of important. Lamar hasn't done a whole lot. The Texans have not been able to run the ball at all. Sean Tucker has not been pleased with his production today. And they go back to running screens. Of course they do. But this one actually looks like it's going to work. Look at Tucker go. Pleased to gain 18. Imagine Algier and Henry in the same backfield. Instead of thunder and lightning, it's just thunder and thunder. If those guys would pound on the defensive lines. Solid gain for Watson. Texans do have 3 timeouts in their back pocket. Oh my, what a catch. Down at the 30. Marquez Valdez-Scantling with one of his annual great watched plays. I simmed the season and Ronald Acuna turned into prime Albert Pujols and Atlanta still missed the playoffs. Yeah, obviously I've done a lot of simulating on MLB The Show 22 lately with the long-term sim for the Guardian series, and I've seen some guys put up some big numbers. Even some old players. I hope, certainly regression, I hope regression's different in MLB The Show 23. I feel like they would have told us. So it's probably not, which is a little bit annoying. But, again, if you saw my upload last night, the draft looks sick. So that'll be fun. New England gets the stop, and they call a timeout. I think the Texans are in field goal range, so they should be able to score, but I still feel like this is a kind of a failure of a drive because you're still going to be down by 2 scores, and New England can score again. So this is not good news for Houston. So we'll see if Josh Allen can possibly make it a 3-score game before halftime. He's got 2 timeouts in 40 seconds, so it is more than possible. Here's Offensive Player of the Year candidate, Travis Etienne, who did not deserve to win the award at all. Solid game. New England has to call a timeout. I feel like they maybe shouldn't have thrown a check down with 40 seconds and 2 timeouts to start the drive, but that's just me. And it's intercepted. Oh boy, this changes things. Not only an interception, but a big play after the fact by Darius Williams. And the Texans are going to get the ball up to 17. This changes everything. The entire game has possibly been flipped on its side. The Texans have to capitalize. They have to score a touchdown. Etienne, did he not? I thought he did. He was close. He was either first or second, I think. Opinions on the Bears. Do you think they're a threat? I would say no. Not yet. I need to see it to believe it. I think it's possible, but I wouldn't expect it. I still think we're... Oh, fumble! That was quick. Picked up by New England. Christian Watson coughed it up that time. I assume that's probably why they're showing him. But was it a fumble, though? I think he's down. They're going to reverse that probably. Or at least they should. Yeah, I think he was down. And doesn't the clock stop? So it's like, this works out well for Houston because it's like they get to use an extra timeout on that play. Yeah, the elbow's clearly down. That's definitely not a fumble. So this honestly works out really well for the Texans. Unless the clock keeps moving, then it doesn't really work out for anyone. But if the clock stops, that's kind of the big deal. Okay, so Houston keeps the ball, and the clock does keep running. Okay, and then Houston burns a timeout because they're idiots. After 10 seconds go. So the clock thing didn't end up really mattering. Houston now has 16 seconds. They have to score here. They got to score. Even if it's a field goal, just score. They got to make it a one-score game. Don't throw it to Sean. I swear to God. Oh, that's even worse. He gets sacked by Vita Vea. I don't think they're going to have enough time to get to a line of scrimmage. That'll wrap up the first half. The New England Patriots looking good as they lead 17-6. The Texans had an opportunity there at the end and did not capitalize. Cameron Dantzler to the Commanders. OFL Defensive Player of the Year, Cameron Dantzler, to you. Is Jimmy G a Raider? He is a Raider. In, like, the least surprising move of the entire day. The Bucs are re-signing Jamel Dean. Wow, he probably got a fat bag. I wanted him before we got Cam Sutton, but after we signed Sutton, I didn't see a point to sign both of them. But he probably got himself some good money. Houston starts with the ball in the second half with pretty bad field position. Geez, Sean Tucker has not been him today. So Houston had an opportunity in the red zone after a turnover. They did not clutch it out. But if nothing else, they have to score here. New England's defense has been really solid. They've been able to stop Lamar Jackson. Not that Jackson's numbers are bad. They're solid. They haven't been able to find the end zone. Jimmy G the Raiders is certainly an insurance mentor thing. Probably, but it also means they don't have to pick a quarterback if they don't want to. So, depending on how the board plays out, at least 3 QBs are going to be gone by the time they pick, probably. If the one guy that's left they don't like, they don't have to pick him. If they don't like Will Levis, for example, they don't have to pick him. Or maybe all 4 quarterbacks will be gone. So, I think this opens things up for them. And in terms of some of the other QB deals, I don't think it's that bad financially. What was it, 3 years, 67-ish? How was that picked? Darius, big play Slay with the interception. I think the receiver dropped it right into Slay's hands. It's just been that kind of day for the Texans. Yeah, it dropped right in his hands. Oh my goodness. That ball might have hit the ground as he was catching it. Oh, they might review that. They're not. Okay, so it is a turnover. It looked like that might have hit the ground as he caught it. But they'll give it to New England. I had UNC going to the Final Four. I kind of feeling Memphis, too. I don't know if I'm going to pick them to go to the Final Four, but I don't know. I have a good feeling about Memphis. Kendrick Davis is a baller. I know I'm going to have them beating Purdue in the second round. And then Memphis and Duke in the Sweet 16 is really interesting because Duke is hot. I could really see the winner of that game going to the Final Four. Who do you think the Lions are going to draft through their first 2 rounders? I think it depends on how the board plays out, whether we get an opportunity at a quarterback we like, which if we do, I think we should pounce on. If not, I would assume we would focus on defense. I think Bijan Robinson at 18 is not out of the possibilities. Nice kick. So I trust what Brad's going to do. And we didn't trade for Jalen Ramsey because he didn't want to come here. From what I read, we were in on him, but he wanted to go to the Dolphins. So there's a chance we did give up more, but he just didn't want to come. Which if we signed or traded for Jalen Ramsey, I would have been excited. I think a second round or one of our seconds for him would have been a pretty good deal. But I don't think it's the end of the world either. Real ones have Oral Roberts over Duke. I really want to pick Oral Roberts. I really do. Why are the Texans always starting off with such bad field position? But I really want to pick Oral Roberts, but Duke is playing really well. And they've got a lot of high-end talent. 4 years, 52? That's it? He got less than 15 a year? What a steal. Who is Jamel Dean's agent? That guy's an idiot. Who does Jamel Dean have running his finances? Because that person does not know ball. Who's going to pick off Allen more, Sauce or Ramsey? The real question is who's going to pick off Aaron Rodgers more. Hopefully it's still Kirby Joseph. Because I still want Aaron Rodgers to stay in Green Bay. Although if they do trade him, I'll be happy too, because it'll feel like the Packers are finally dead. But I think it would not benefit them to keep him. So that's why I hope they do that. Yep, there's Schefter. 4 years, 52 for Jamel Dean. What a steal. No one else was willing to do more? Solid run for Sean Tucker, finally. It has been a tough day in the office for him. If the Bucs signed Baker Mayfield, who would be QB1? I would assume it would be Baker. He's better than Kyle Trask. So I would assume if Baker signs here, he'll be their starter. Matt Judon, Stephon Gilmore. That is a nice little trio. And all of those guys are good in watch games. Stephon Gilmore is always a monster. Slay had the play earlier today. And Matthew Judon's obviously quite good as well. Body built by Taco Bell. And they have Vita Vea, too. Lamar's in the zone. This is Houston's opportunity. There's a good throw. They're not out of it. They can get some stops and get some drives together. I hate Gilmore, despise him. You mean you hate the owner of your organization? Lamar lobs it up, and it is caught for a touchdown. I think that's Christian Watson. Yes, it is. And the Texans are only down by 1 score. How is Von Miller watched? Not as good as he is in Sim. I think we watched the Dreadnoughts, twice this year, and Von Miller was pretty blah. But obviously in Sim, he is quite good. Per NFL Rookie Watch. That's not a source, by the way. The Panthers head coach reportedly loves the idea of drafting Anthony Richardson. I love how, every fifth word the NFL Rookie Watch types, it has to be in quotation marks. C.J. Stroud, quote-unquote, plays football for the Ohio State, quote-unquote, Buckeyes. The Panthers reportedly, quote-unquote, traded up to the number 1 pick to select the, quote-unquote, quarterback from Ohio State. To be honest, Kent State to the Sweet 16. To be honest, you know ball. Kent State is a good Cinderella choice, although Indiana's good too. Quote-unquote, Ohio State. But yeah, I don't think NFL Rookie Watch is a source, unfortunately. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, kids, because a lot of it's not true. Charleston's a fun one, too. I feel like San Diego State's going to beat them. I think San Diego State matches up pretty well. But Charleston could make some noise. I think the underdog to watch in that group would be Furman. I could see Furman getting past Virginia, although Virginia's obviously quite strong. But Furman could be an interesting team to watch. The Purple Paladins. Believe everything you read is what the Games does. That's true. You're right. I love Furman. Well, you know ball. They better, because I don't want C.J. Stroud anywhere near Carolina. The alternative is Houston and Indy. I guess Indy's not horrible, but I don't know if Houston's a whole lot better. Arizona versus Kansas championship. I'm in. I had those teams playing in the championship 5 years ago. I think Arizona lost in the first round. That was the year they had DeAndre Ayton. And that was the year we made the Final Four with the Grayson Allen shot that rimmed out. That's still one of my favorite probably my favorite basketball play ever. The Grayson Allen buzzer beater that rimmed out. That was golden. Oh, it's intercepted! Final play of the third quarter. It's going to be a pick six. And Houston is going to make it interesting. We are tied at 20. How about that? Who's 31? Is that Darius Williams again? I don't know. But whoever that is just made the play of the game. Wow. That changes things drastically. Oh, can I not see because we're in the fourth quarter? I can go into highlights. No, that's in stats. I could have just also looked at the stats. Darius Williams, his second interception of the game. Wow. I hope Texas makes the championship. I hope they don't. They can suck at that one. Michigan State's not bad. Where are they, a 7 seed? They could make some noise. Tom Izzo's led teams far in March before. I wouldn't put it past him to do it again. The Dolphins got their quote-unquote starting quarterback today, Mike White. Talk Texas. Facts. I usually root for the Big 12 teams to do pretty well in the tournament because it makes the conference look better, but Texas isn't a Big 12 team anymore, so they're dead to us. Not that I like them anyway, but... We lost to OSU without their best player. Yeah, but OSU had a little run going last week. So they were better last week than they've been for the last 2 months. Which I guess doesn't say a whole lot because they've been really bad the last 2 months. But still, nice throw by Josh Allen. Even though Houston seems to have all the momentum right now, New England does have the ball. I think New England is still slightly in control. But everyone besides Texas and Iowa. What's wrong with Iowa State? What did they do? I'm pulling for everybody other than Kansas State and Texas. Everybody else is cool. 49ers reached agreement with former Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold. Watch Sam Darnold be the guy who starts playoff games next year for the Niners. That'd be hilarious. Sam Darnold was honestly kind of good last year at the end. I'm not going to lie. Not that I would trust him to be a starting quarterback. Did he catch that? Good Lord. But yeah, what is Sam Darnold going to make? He played well, kind of, for Carolina. Well for his standards. I would assume he'll get at least $5 or $6 million. What's the beef with Kansas State? Because they're our rivals, so I don't like them. (2011) ISU. 2011 was 11 years ago. But I guess nobody else other than us has a reason to hate Kansas State, so I guess that's a fair reason to hate Iowa State. Where did Sam Darnold go? He signed with the Niners. The Jimmy Garoppolo replacement. Doink! No good! New England missed it. Okay, now I don't think New England's in so much control. I'm a Kansas basketball fan, I'm an Oregon football fan, and I like Michigan sports teams, and I've never been in any of those places in my life. Is Darnold their starter? No, they're not starting him over Trey Lance. That'd be pretty stupid. Christian Watson has 11 catches today. Goodness. UVA is either a team who will go to the Sweet 16 and knock off Bama or lose to Furman by 15. I'm in the exact same boat. They have veteran, experienced guards, which usually goes a long way in March Madness. But I like Furman. I want to pick Furman. I don't know if I will, but I kind of want to. Good run by Sean Tucker. To be honest, Michigan State to the Final Four. Who's their 2 seed if they win? Did they play Marquette in the second round? That's a winnable game. And then I don't even remember their 3 seed. Who's the other 3 seed? Is it Baylor? Do they have Baylor? Oh, no, they have Kansas State. Oh, well, if Kansas State gets there, then please win. Do you know what Iowa State did to us in 2011 in football? I don't. So it's football, not even basketball. What did Iowa State do in 2011? I don't remember what either of those teams did in 2011. Who won the championship in 2011? That was the year after Cam Newton, right? Was that one of the Alabama years? Was that when Alabama beat LSU? With Justin Jefferson's brother at quarterback, I think? Yeah, that was the Alabama year. I was actually an LSU fan before I was an Oregon fan. So that was when I was, 7 or 8 years old. And I was an LSU fan. So that was a sad day. And then Marcus Mariota and the uniforms made me jump on the bandwagon. And now I'm not a bandwagon. And I just stuck with Oregon. But yes, 9-year-old me was a bandwagon. Just for college football, and technically baseball. I was a Cubs fan before I liked the Tigers, but then I just kind of hopped on the whole Detroit sports bandwagon because I already liked the Lions, and I was starting to like the Pistons. Yeah, 2010 was the Cam Newton year when they beat us, as Lamar Jackson just turned it over in the red zone. What is this game? There's your weekly Stephon Gilmore watched game interception. But what is this game? I don't know how to explain it. This entire game has been a roller coaster. And it was tipped again! That's 2 tipped passes that have been intercepted. I was an LSU fan and a Cubs fan. Both of those teams won championships, but then I switched. Oh my goodness, look at him go. Breaks a tackle, that's Sutton. Takes it all the way inside the 20 to the 12. My goodness. What a weird game. I should have been a Seahawks fan. Yeah, I guess picking the Chargers might not have been your smartest choice. Tennessee losing first round. I kind of agree. With Zakai Ziegler hurt and them not playing all that well, I could see them losing in the first round. And the winner of that game is Duke and Oral Roberts in the second round. So I'd be surprised if either Tennessee or Louisiana get past the second round. LSU and the Cubs did nothing when I cheered for them, but when I switched, they both won championships. And the teams I picked instead of them are poverty teams. The Tigers are just a disgrace. And Oregon finds a way to lose every year in November to kill their hopes. It's like time is a flat circle with Oregon. Every year is the same. Last year I talked myself into them actually maybe making a case for the playoff. Like normally I'm not as optimistic with them and I realize we're going to lose at some point. Last year I was more optimistic and I was wrong. As DeAndre Hopkins puts New England ahead in Houston, ironically enough. Devontae Adams seems to be pissed off about his new quarterback. I would be too. A week ago, they were minus 300 to get Aaron Rodgers, and now they have Jimmy Garoppolo. When I was choosing teams, I was choosing between the Chargers and the Bears. What a weird group to pick from. The Chargers and the Bears. I had the Tigers trade for Schwarber. Nice. I'm down. Instead of hitting 45 home runs, he'd hit like 25. Maybe not 25, but still, Kyle Schwarber would be fun. We don't have anybody as good as him, which doesn't say a whole lot, but still. And also the Dolphins. What a weird group of 3, but I guess it works. So that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. New England leads by 7. The Texans have the ball, and their season is on the line. My dad's friend's uncle played for the Dolphins. Wow, that's cool. Is his name Dan Marino? He's a nice play for Christian Watson, who has about 20 catches today, or so it feels. Favorite WNBA teams? I have a confession. I don't watch the WNBA. I'm sorry. Elite quarterback room: Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, and the bearded Sam Darnold. That's an interesting group of 3. And XFL teams. I haven't really watched the XFL this year, so I don't have a team. I liked the DC Defenders a couple years ago because they had a lot of players I knew. Specifically, my guy Tyree Jackson. who's now is too good for the XFL. Now he has an NFC Championship ring. Houston's got to go for it. This might be the game. 4th and 1. Do they run it or do they throw it? I'm expecting a pass. It is a pass, and they got it. Okay, so the game stays alive a little bit for Houston. They have time. Nola signed with Seattle and Kershaw signed with Texas. MLB The Show has some weird signings. Those I could kind of see. Kershaw has been linked with Texas before. The Mariners could spend for a pitcher. Lamar's nearly intercepted. That was close. They still have 2 timeouts in their back pocket. Third and 4. They got it. They should call a timeout. That's a good call. Stop the clock. Give yourself a little breather. You still have a timeout in your back pocket. Christian Watson now has 14 catches. Okay, that was kind of stupid. And now they're out of timeouts. Oh, boy. I do not have a good feeling for Houston. With 20 seconds left, they used their last timeout. Say, Houston, let's grow some balls. If you score, go for 2. This game would never do that. Never. Not that it'd be a bad call, but they would never. Lamar's under pressure. Got to watch out for the sack. I think they might have enough time for one more play. Yes, they will. They got back to the line quickly. All right, this is it. Play action. You're not fooling anybody. Lamar, end zone. That's caught with a second left on the clock for a touchdown by Amari Cooper, who does nothing in watch games. And assuming they make the kick, we are going to be tied up and probably going to overtime. New England's already played in overtime so far in the playoffs. We've had an overtime game in every round. New England beat the Bills. The Monarchs beat the Cougars in that wild game. And now this. Hop in and go for 2. Yeah, then it would be rigged for somebody. It would be rigged for whoever lost. What's your favorite game out of all the series? My nostalgia tells me NCAA 14, but of the recent games, it's probably 2K. Because you had the most customization. I had the Mariners trade for J. Ram. Huh. Jose Ramirez on the Mariners. That'd be fun. And he's out of our division. Not that I should be concerned about that. It's not like we're going to win more than 70 games, so why should I care? Look at Travis Etienne go! Okay, he doesn't score. That's not even Etienne, that's James Conner. Okay, never mind. Looks like we're going overtime. This game has been drunk, so it's fitting that through 4 quarters it's not over. All right, New England. You've been around the block before. Tails never fails. Bang! New England knows ball. So New England can win the game with a touchdown. Good for them for being smart and picking tails, as they should. To be honest, you don't know ball. Say what? Tigers won 72 games and Torque was an all-star. Man, I wish. You had the Mariners missing the playoffs. I needed to have something out there. I feel like the 6 playoff teams last year are by far the 6 best teams in their leagues. But there's no way the same 12 are going to be back. So I had to change it up a little bit. And I think the Blue Jays and who's the other wild card team last year? The Rays. I feel like they're a little bit better than Seattle. And I like Minnesota. I think they can make some noise. My heart has been pounding for the last 10 minutes. I've got to say, I do not envy either of these teams right now. This game has been so weird. Ooh, that should have been picked! I was right in his hands. You got to catch that. That's literally the game if he catches that ball. 3rd and 9. Another dropped interception, but they still get the stop. That was quick. Man, Houston could have won it twice. So now it's next score wins. Right? All you need is a field goal after the first drive in the playoffs. I feel like Houston's got the momentum. They just had the big drive at the end of regulation. Can they do it here to punch their ticket in the OFL Bowl against either Washington or London? Sean Tucker's averaging 3 yards a carry. To be honest, I thought it would have been worse. I need a Sean Tucker game-winning touchdown. That'd be something. Okay, there's something. He might have 3.4 yards a carry for his 34. And now it's 3rd and 4 with just less than 34 seconds left on the clock. 3 yards away from the 34. Now I'm kind of reaching a little bit. Nice first down for Houston. Trey McBride, the tight end. That's probably going to be a hold. Yeah, so that'll move him back 10 yards. Yeah, all they got to do is get in field goal range. All they need is 3. They're in a good spot. Although, if I've learned anything about this game, it ain't over until the clock says 0. Or if the clock says final. Because it wouldn't say 0 because we're in overtime. Christian Watson, who's been awesome today, is hurt. He's got like 14 catches. Elite OFL receiving back Sean Tucker puts his team on his back. If Sean Tucker scores a 60-yard touchdown, I will levitate. Cody Barton to the commies. Fun. Here's Sean Tucker. Instead of a 60-yard touchdown, he instead gets 3. Now it's 3rd and 8. If Houston's close to the first down marker and don't get it, what do? Do you go for it? Or do you punt? Did he get it? I don't know. That's so close. They will give it to him. Because of forward progress. That's close. But it did look like he got past the line. Although he was pushed back. Amari Cooper has 8 catches today? Really? I would have guessed it was not that much. Yeah, Lamar's thrown the ball a lot. There's 54, and it's incomplete. The Texans can taste it. They're this close. They can just smell it. Lamar's in the zone. You're probably about 15 yards away from field goal range. And there's your 15, and then some. They get 17. They're in field goal range now. You can make the argument to kick. Not going to do it yet. Lamar's thrown 2 interceptions today, albeit both of them were kind of unlucky rather than his fault, but still. I would consider just kicking it early, just not even risking it. There's a good play for Sean Tucker, though. Lamar's 56th pass of the game. And now they have been at the 21. What if this game ends in a game-winning turnover? Oh my lord, I just spoke it into existence. Darius Slay picks it off. Are you kidding me? I just called that. I told you, this game is not over until it's over. I just said a minute ago, they should just kick. We've seen multiple interceptions today. We've seen multiple crazy turnovers. Why even risk it? Oh my goodness. This entire game is ridiculous. This has been the game of the year. Holy cow. Okay. New England's first drive in overtime was not good. Pick 6 time. Just watch. Well, not on that play. Man, Houston had this game won. They can still get a stop here on 3rd and 2. And keep in mind, all New England needs now is a field goal rather than a touchdown like their last drive. Hand off to Etienne, and he does get it. Not by much, but he does. Congrats to C-Mill on getting my type of luck. If the Texans lose, this is like an all-time collapse. The Dolphins player was Bruce Hardy. He had 2.5 yards and 2.5 yards, jeez. 2.5K yards and 25 touchdowns. I don't know who that is, but that's a solid career. He had to have played multiple years as a decent level player. A lot different than just 2.5 yards. Either the Patriots or Lamar goes to the OFL Bowl. This really is OFL 20 all over again. But instead, it's Lamar's team getting screwed and not New England. It's the other way around. Played with Marino. That's kind of fire. You could get a stop, but you have to go drive like you did, which is just painful. It is painful because Houston had it in the red zone. Trade Lamar. Trade the guy who's like carried the team today. Lamar wasn't even playing that well early, but yeah, the last interception was more his fault rather than unluckiness. But still, this loss isn't on him. This loss is on not kicking the field goal. If they even lose, again, this game is not even close to over. New England has it at their own 33. What are we talking about? Okay, there's a big play. Now the Texans are in trouble. Notice how San Fran was mid without Lamar. I just got too cute and overthought it. I should never have not started him. There's Travis Etienne with a big play. Now New England has it in the red zone. There's only a minute left on the clock. The clock doesn't really matter, but I assume they would kick it before double overtime. I would think. And they're going to not do what Houston did, and they're going to kick the ball the second they get into field goal range. I cannot believe Houston's about to lose this. I cannot believe it. 37 yards for the win and a spot in the OFL Bowl. It's up. And they got it. And New England wins an unbelievable game. 30-27 in overtime. New England was up big early. The Texans stormed back. They tied the game with a second left. They had a chance to win it in overtime. But they turned the ball over in field goal range and lose the game. So Dan Dutton's Patriots will represent the AFC in the OFL Bowl. I wonder what like the ESPN win percentage would have been throughout the game. That thing is a big old roller coaster. Well, that was something, wasn't it, guys? Holy smokes. What an ending. What an entire game. To be honest, if I was at wide receiver, they would have won. Is this the Patriots' 6th AFC championship? I don't think they ever made it in the OFL Bowl other than OFL 20. They might have made it in 19. Did they? No, they didn't. Yeah, I don't think they've made it other than... No, they made it, I think, the first year of OFL 21, and they lost to Carolina. I think. So this would be their 7th, which has to be by far the most conference championships for one team. Lamar Jackson threw the ball 57 times. I think overall he was good, but this number kind of costed them. 2 of the interceptions weren't really his fault, but the last one was, and that was ultimately the killer. I think that happens to anyone other than Octi if they have to kick the field goal. Or Dan Dutton, clearly, because they actually kicked. Josh Allen was solid. He had some turnovers as well, but he made plays when he needed to. Sean Tucker was not great. Christian Watson was, as was Cortland Sutton. So the 14-win Texans are done. And New England will play either the Monarchs or the Commanders in the OFL Bowl. So who's it going to be? We'll find out now. Siri, give me a number between 489 and 490.
It's 490.
490. You did not read my question right. Oh, yeah. No, I did not read that right at all. I think if that ever happens to anyone else, Octi has to kick the field goal. Yeah, I did not read that correctly at all originally. I feel like that wouldn't be fair. I feel like part of the game is EA's logic. Even if it's really flawed, I don't think that'd be fair to the other team. Even if, yes, you guys did get completely screwed and should have kicked the field goal and had no reason not to. I feel like that wouldn't be fair to the other team. Because if you were in New England's shoes, you would be understandably mad at me for kicking the field goal. And what happens if I miss the field goal? That's a possibility, albeit an unlikely one, but a possibility. But yeah, I think it's fair to say C-Mill is now in the group of coaches who EA probably doesn't like. I think we could put him in that conversation because he's had some other questionable playoff losses before. The game last year against the Diablos when he was the Dolphins was just hard to watch. Against a team who they were way better than. 2-4 in OFL balls. Can't wait for Danny to tell us New England sucks because of their under 500 record in the big game. Am I in that conversation of people who EA hates? Probably. It wouldn't be fair because I can only control one team. That's true. I did user the Texans for that game, so technically it would be them who I could user. But I feel like part of the fun, at least from an outsider's perspective, is EA's stupidity. Even if EA messes it up for everybody other than me. Although I haven't been as lucky the past few years, but even so, I have not gotten it anywhere near as bad as like Nick and Husker, and I think people like SGYT and C-Mill are now in that group as well. Do Jackson, the games want to pick their jerseys? I know, right, Jack says regular. Oh, anyways, okay. I don't know if the game is here. How do I leave? I don't think you can. Do we want to rock up the all blue for Monarchs? But yeah, I think once you're in the unlucky group, it's kind of hard to get out. Although RMP technically did. He was super unlucky, and then he won 2 championships. So he got out. But other than that, it's pretty hard to get out. So let's see the NFC Championship between the Commanders and the Monarchs. The Commanders have looked very good through their 2 playoff games. They've got a great pass rush, a great passing attack, and they do have a lot of injuries. As for the Monarchs, they had a ridiculous overtime win against the Cougars. I think the last game was a little more crazy, but that game was wild as well. So we'll see if it'll be the Commies or the Neo-Fascists in the OFL Bowl against the American Patriots. Land of the brave, home of the 3, am I right? It's soccer. Once you're in here forever, pretty much. So the Commies will start with the ball. We'll get a look at Macaroni and Cheese Man, Mac Jones. Wouldn't it be funny if Mac Jones played New England? Or it'll be the New England fan who plays New England. Battle between EA's 2 love childs. EA's 2 love childs who have 0 championships? I don't know if I'm ready to call them love childs. Although, to be fair, you guys all called the Aviators love childs, and I said you were wrong, and the Aviators won a ring, so what do I know? Hitler versus Stalin meme. So what, is everybody going to root for New England now in the OFL Bowl? And if it was Houston, would everybody be rooting for Houston? If the Games wins an OFL Bowl, I would be curious. I want to see that reaction. Jax has been here the longest of all the coaches left, so I would like to see him win a ring. But on the flip side, it would be Emmy-worthy to see what the Games says after he wins. And Dan's cool, too, so you really can't go out wrong anyway. 3rd and 8, incomplete. Will be the Battle of England or the Patriots and the Commies. Well, the Commies don't start off well on their first drive as they have to punt. And we will now get a look at the London Monarchs. I'm the biggest Jax fan of all time. I don't blame you. I probably would not want New England to win either, and then I can understand why people would root against the Monarchs for obvious reasons. Here's Aaron Rodgers, the potential MVP winner, who we will find that out during halftime of the OFL Bowl on Wednesday. I'm not a big fan of the Games, and if Jax wins a ring before me, I will never hear the end of it. Yeah, Jax would take all the bragging rights over you, and he would have every right to. Because he has a ring. Rodgers' passes dropped right out of his hands. We saw quite a few drops in the first game from players on offense and defense. Have there not been any news within the last half hour with NFL free agency? I think the last thing has been Sam Darnold. That was literally half an hour ago. The Gams and Dan Dutton besties. That would be a funny OFL Bowl. The Patriots fan versus the Patriots fan. It would only be fitting if the Patriots lose. The Games winning a ring might send a team into madness. It would send everybody into madness. The whole server would explode. The OFL will cease to exist. If the Games is about to win the OFL Bowl, I'm just going to click off the stream and we'll pretend it never happened. How about that? All of the NFL news was intercepted. Thanks, Sam. No Sam Darnold slander. He played well at the end of last year, damn it. Although having the most underrated running back in the league helps. Which, speaking of, I think he's a free agent too. If hypothetically Jamal Williams left, which he better not, but if he did, I would be thrilled with Deontay Foreman on our team. Need commies for my predictions. Weren't the Texans your prediction too? That didn't work out so well. Panthers trading EA's lovers, Matt Corral. I would take Matt Corral for like a fifth. Why not? See what he's got. Washington seems to be the first team who's getting something going on offense after the first drives were a whole lot of nothing. Still hoping we draft Hendon Hooker. I don't think that'd be a horrible pick in like the second round. I don't think I would do it at 19, but in round 2, why not? What do you have to lose? And I assume he probably wouldn't be there in the third, probably. Najee doesn't get it. Don't forget, if the commies win, I think Alvin Kamara would be healthy for the OFL Bowl. I could be wrong, but I think he would. I don't want to see the Games call a team neo-fascist for over... Wouldn't he call one of the teams neo-fascists anyway, regardless if they win or lose? The commies are getting close at the 17. A lot of short passes. They are literally dinking and dunking, and I guess it's working. And Jones has a wide open Brandon, not Brandon Ayuk, that's Najee Harris. I saw the hair and I thought it was Ayuk. But a wide open Najee Harris instead for the touchdown. So the commies start this one on the board. I was filled with so much homicidal rage when the Patriots lined up to field goal range. Or lined up to kick a field goal when they were in field goal range. I still cannot believe that the Texans lost. That just blows my mind. New England was better for most of that game, to be fair, but Houston should have won it. You should stream the ball when the Games is not available. If he makes it, that'd be kind of funny. I already said I'm doing it Wednesday, whether he likes it or not. I said it would be Wednesday last week. Because, again, after Wednesday, I have a lot of basketball to watch. So... yeah, if he doesn't like it, then he can, I don't know, cry. Although the way their offense is playing, I don't even know if they're going to make it. Their offense looks flat. I should tell him to make plans for Wednesday. He might need to make plans anyway. This offense looks bad. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Right as I say that, Devontae Adams gets a nice gain, which like doubles their yard total for the day. And that'll wrap up the first quarter. Not a bad start for the Commies as they lead 7-zip. Naturally, 5 guys have scheduled you for Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Jeez. That seems brutal. You better hope there's a TV in there. Especially Thursday and Friday. Oh, fumble! Those are like the 2 best days of a tournament. Arguably. There's nothing like first-round March Madness games where you get to pick between like 4. It's great. Almost as great as this Commander defense. They're looking really good, and that is, in fact, a fumble. No review. There isn't. Oh, dear. Is there any way to sneak a phone in there? One of the best parts about March Madness is when you're watching it, when you're, like, sneaking it. Former Eagles offensive tackle Andre Dillard is expected to sign with the Titans. Interesting. Would he move over to left tackle? I can't imagine he got that much, but he probably got a decent bit. At least we finally have news. I'll buy you a TV so you can put it in your workplace. Usually on the register, selling, or on fries. That seems kind of hard to sneak a phone if you're doing one of those things. Maybe you could have, like, something to hold the phone for you. I don't know. Nice play after the catch for the Commies. They now have it at the 23. Who is 16? Tim Patrick. That's right. Tim Patrick is surprisingly tall. He's like 6'4". Fly me down there, I'll hold the phone. There you go. Does the entire state of Ohio have any teams in the tournament? Common Ohio L. As Washington kicks the kick, and he does make it, so they lead 10-0. Yeah, better yet, get a big iPad in there. Bigger screen, the better. Only one downside would be I'm in Ohio. Yeah, that seems like kind of a big enough downside to where you might just not want to do it. I don't think it'd be worth it to be in Ohio for a whole day. Ugh. Here's a big start to the drive. Look at David Montgomery, right? Or is that Khalil Herbert? No, that's Monty. Gets it to the 43. So now the Monarchs are getting into it. Did he catch that? Huh. Nice catch. Could have been intercepted. Aaron Rodgers has been quite mid today, I've got to say. But that was a lucky play. Yeah, Cole Holcomb tipped it. And how many tip catches have we had today? Like 4? Put my phone in like a smart bowl. Yeah, there you go. What, is your boss going to fire you if you do that? It's worth it to watch primetime March Madness college basketball. I would do it. I guess I'm also not the one with a job, so I can't really talk, but that's besides the point. The Monarchs have it at the 7. Can the neo-fascists punch it in for points? Not on that play, but they are close. They get it to the 2. Even if he says no, do it anyway. Who needs rules? They were just made to be broken. Now it's 3rd and goal. It's a pitch to Devontae Adams, and he loses 3. The Commies get the stop, and the Monarchs are only going to be able to kick. Who started with the ball? I think the Commies did. They score here. They can put themselves in a good spot. The managers would see the phone anyway. Maybe what you should do, instead of watching it, obviously that'd be better, just have one like AirPod or something in, so you can hear it, but you got another ear in case like someone talks to you and you need to respond. It's the best of both worlds. I guess you got to have something to block your ear, though. It's a little bit easier for me because I have hair all over it, so it would work. I could block it, but that's probably not the same for everybody. I don't have AirPods. We'll buy them. You got 3 days. Chop, chop. Amazon Prime. Look at Jordan Love holding the clipboard. What a guy. Jordan Love must be mad jealous. This was supposed to be his team. I have pretty long hair and a hat. Perfect. Step 1's already complete. Now you just got to break out the credit card, make your purchase, and boom. Has Mac Jones thrown more than like 1 or 2 passes longer than like 10 yards today? I mean, it's working. He's been efficient, but this has been like the most like Alex Smith type playbook I think I've ever seen. There he is again. He gets 1. We have 2 50-inch TVs in your shop. That sounds pretty nice to have 2 of them, not even just 1. If you're looking the other direction, you still got a TV you can watch. If you had short hair, I'd say buy a wig. Yeah, that sounds suspicious. There's nothing to be sus about there. People wear wigs. It happens. Washington's starting to call their timeouts. They still have 54 seconds. Wow, they have really not ran it. I think they said they had 3 run plays. They call another timeout. They're using them quickly. Need me to get a job where their C-mill works so you can just watch whatever is on the TV all day. Sounds perfect. Who needs work when you can get paid for watching television? Mac has thrown the ball 24 times. He might pass Lamar. How many did Lamar throw? 57 or something ridiculous? Yeah, I guess Max still has a long ways to go. If you saw Hector and the games walk into your work... The first question is, why are Hector and the games going together? What are they doing? The second thing would be, if I'm Nick, I immediately run up to my manager. I say, these people are harassing me. Get them out. Did Washington not score? How did they fumble the clock that bad? Are they trying to take lessons from the Texans? Jeez, they should have scored. They're only up by 7. They should have been up by at least 10. They had so much time with good field position and timeouts, and they just completely blew it. This game never ceases to amaze me. All right, into the second half we go. 10-3. London's offense has been pretty mediocre. They had a nice drive previously, but they were stopped out of the end zone. I'd use the bathroom and pretend to take the largest number 2 of all. It's a fumble! Well, that lasted quick. Washington gets the ball right back. I was looking at the chat. I didn't see if the ball came out. So there's another instance of something cool happening when I'm not looking. That was Devontae Adams, too. That's out. That's a fumble, no doubt. We've had so many fumbles today. Why? I mean, I don't mind it, because we, never have fumbles. I didn't touch the fumble slider. Huh. Octi should start swearing. There's children here. Imagine if the games hears a bunch of swear words. What's he going to turn into? I don't think we want that. See, Najee's gotten the ball 5 times. Oh, he's gotten the ball 11 times. Okay, I don't know why I thought he had 5 times. Didn't it just say, on the last drive, they had 3 run plays? Maybe I read it wrong. That's probably it. You don't get money from this channel. That is true. But there are children, damn it. Repeat this word. This word. No wonder why we're losing. What does the Pats have to do with you losing? Third and 14, nothing. They'll take the field goal, though, considering they didn't start the ball in the second half. So the Commies are going to lead by 10. Assuming we have no funny business. And there you go. They're up by 10. London's offense continues to just be not very good. It's not even like Washington's pass rush has been elite or anything. Not that they've been bad. But they haven't really done a whole lot. Diller gets 3 years, 29. Woo! That's a lot of money. For a guy who's never been a consistent starter. Again, you're paying these guys for what they can be, not what they've done. But still, that's quite a bit of dough. When did the game start on Thursday? I assume 12. And I know we're playing at 2. We got one of the early games. Last year, our game was super late. I didn't even get to watch the second half of our first game last year, because that's when I had to get up early. It didn't really matter, because we were up by 30 at halftime, so it was fine. The Giants just re-signed Matt Breida. Wow. When is the draft and scouting? Well, considering we're in the conference championship, we're still a little ways away. We still have the OFL Bowl and then re-signings. and then free agency, and then scouting will be in there somewhere, and then the draft. Octi wakes up, Kansas ended up losing. That would have been a pretty sucky morning. To see his choke 30 against, like, who was it, Texas Southern, I think? That would have been brutal. London's kind of getting something going here. Rogers is in the zone now as well. If they score a touchdown, it's only a 3-point game. It feels like Washington's been so much better than them. Who fumbled? I think Devontae Adams did. If you fumble, I'm going to end you or trade you to the Bengals. The Raiders are expected to sign former Eagles safety Marcus Epps. Wow, the Eagles have lost like everyone. I say everyone as if like Marcus Epps is really good or something. Which he certainly is not. Epps taking. I said the Raiders, not the Ravens. The Raiders signed Marcus Epps. I wonder how much money he's going to make, because he was like a rotational player for them. He could get a little bit. Next year, I need to schedule days off for the first 4 days of March Madness. For your own sake, yes. 3rd and 1. Nope, incomplete. So they'll probably kick. There have been no wide receiver deals today. I guess that makes sense. Oh, they're going for it. Wow, they got it. The wide receiver market is bad, but still I'm surprised there hasn't been any. What about the one GM whose nipples were hard for Alan Lazard? What happened with that guy? Why hasn't he signed him yet? The clock is being chewed. We're in the 3rd quarter. I don't think the clock really matters yet. Max Crosby's in the zone now as well, for what it's worth. After making a play on 1st down, EDC got hard over Lazard. I'm not surprised he wants a mid-wide receiver. Who knows? Maybe it's the Chiefs. They like big, tall receivers from the Packers. It makes sense. He'd fit. Minus the fact that he's like not good. Aaron Donald with the sack. So after all of that, it looks like the Monarchs are just going to have to kick a field goal anyways. So now it's 13-6. The Commies are still in control. They've had opportunities to make it a 2-score game and have not succeeded. Can this be the drive where they not necessarily put it away, but really have themselves in a good spot? Because they have definitely been the better team today. It'd be something if we had both 1 seeds to lose. Book the parade, Commies. Mac Jones' legacy drive. Here's a good start for Najee. Najee Harris is our daddy. He's getting an 100-yard touchdown. Well, that's kind of impossible, considering there's not an 100-yard play unless it's like a kick return or a pick six that starts in the end zone. General rule of thumb I've done for March Madness is never pick the defending champion. Georgia won 2 in a row. Why not us? I get college football's a lot different. You have to win 2 games, not 6. But most of our team is different from last year, which is good and bad. We have still experience with Jalen Wilson and DeJuan, and to a lesser extent Kevin McCullough. He's experienced, but not with us. But we're also a lot different than we were last year, so it's not like a retread of the same team. Although I guess if you had the same team in this year, they would probably cakewalk because we have 2 NBA players and 3 other pros. Marcus Epps, 2 years, $12 million. I had a feeling he'd get a little bit. I didn't think he'd get that much, but as a rotational guy on a really good defense who isn't awful, I knew Rodgers was a fraud. That's funny. Hold on, let me pull up some receipts here real quick because I have them. The latest comment on an OFL video. MVP should be Aaron Rodgers, so what if we didn't play him? We didn't want him to get injured somehow. EA is rigged against anti-American teams, and they'll rig it against us. That's funny, because we vote for the awards and not EA. But, yeah, you said that 2 weeks ago. Now he's a fraud. Did I watch the World Baseball Classic game last night? I did not, but I saw this morning that the U.S. is in danger of, not making it past this round. Didn't they lose? I think it was Mexico who they lost to, right? They lost to Mexico? But it said they were in danger of not making it past this round for the first time ever. Which I guess makes sense. The U.S. is usually at the top in terms of baseball talent. We're now in the 4th quarter. The Commies have taken a lot of time off the clock, which, considering they're winning, is not a bad thing for them. Apparently our pitching is filled with terrorists. Didn't Rodgers get... We got a draft pick. We got Jalen Petrie. Who else did we get? Let me pull up the full trade. Nice sack by Dennis Gardick. What was the official deal? Because we got more than just a first and Petrie. But those were the main things. And both the pick and Petrie are still good assets. Although I'm not even sure if Petrie's going to be back. Because Joe Mixon hasn't accepted yet. He'd be our top franchise guy. Or our franchise tag. Okay, the official trade was the Monarchs are trading their first next year in Jalen Petrie for Aaron Rodgers, Anthony Miller, Quincy Williams, and a 4th. I thought we got more. We gave up more. In hindsight, I think that's still a good deal for us. I would have never started Rodgers over Corral. Corral's our franchise quarterback. Rodgers is like 40. But in hindsight, that was also probably a good deal for the Monarchs. Although they would have signed him if they had enough cap space in preseason. They gave him more points than us. But they didn't have enough money, and we were the only other team to give him a singular point. I think we gave him 1 or 2. Because I figured I might as well throw one on in case, for whatever reason, it doesn't garner much interest, and obviously it paid off. I got a first-round pick and Jalen Petrie out of it. So, I'm not complaining. Imagine if the Monarchs fall off next year. It's certainly possible. As Rodgers takes a shot... That's one of his better throws of the day, and it happened to be incomplete. Jaron Hall season. Ah, yes. The best quarterback to come out of BYU in the last 3 years. The message is not sent if there's a curse word in them. I don't know. I feel like they do, but YouTube blocks certain ones for no reason. I don't have a setting for that to be the case. I don't know why it does that. 4th down, by the way. What a throw into the hands of Dawson Knox. Hotty toddy. Give me Trey Hendrickson. I'll take Trey Hendrickson. Why have they gotten 4 separate notifications about Marcus Epps as if that's a big deal? Time's ticking. Look at the clock. There's 3 minutes. Marcus Epps is not on Philly. He just signed with the Raiders 10 minutes ago. Because Epps is league altering. Who needs an Aaron Rodgers trade when you have Marcus Epps signing with the Raiders? Yeah, I didn't see a long message from you. YouTube is being weird. I don't know why it does that. Because it's done that before. Not often. But I don't know if there's like a contingency for it or if it's just random. London finally scores a touchdown for the first time today, so they're now only down by 3. It ain't over. There's 2:25 left on the clock. Now they got to get a stop, and Najee Harris is a pretty good runner. Epson Hargrave left, and Andre Dillard. And who else did they lose? They lost someone else earlier, right? TJ Edwards. That's right. He signed with the Bears. Team USA's starting pitching is Lance Lynn, Miles Michaelis, Adam Wainwright, Brady Senior, and Merrill Kelly. You put that rotation in the majors, and that's like kind of mid. You couldn't find anybody else to be your fifth starter other than Merrill Kelly and 43-year-old Adam Wainwright? Are any of those guys true aces? Is Lance Lynn an ace? That just looks like a mid-pitching rotation now. You look at the Dominican rotation and lineup, that team is loaded. Should have got Verlander. I assume they invited him. I think a lot of the big-time pitchers declined. Which, if you're a pitcher, I wouldn't really blame you. Because your arm starts feeling sore. A few doctor's visits later, it turns into a Tommy John, and you're out for 18 months. So I would understand why pitchers would be hesitant to pitch more. Third and 1. They got it. London still has a timeout, so I guess it's not like technically over, but it is not looking good. Screwball would have been underrated. Yeah, but Screwball's recovering from an injury, so that would have been pretty stupid of him to do. Najee gets 9. Washington's close. They could just taste it. They're 1 yard away from ending the neo-fascist Monarch season and punching their ticket into OFL Bowl 20 or whatever number we're on, and there we go. That's the dagger. Dan Dutton's Patriots against Jax's Commies in the OFL Bowl. Both 1 seeds get eliminated today. That's going to be a fun game. I could see either the Patriots or the Commies winning. I think on paper the Commanders are a little bit better, but New England has been really impressive throughout the playoffs. Jax has made the OFL Bowl before. He made it in OFL 21 with the Caps, and they lost, I think, by only like 1 to the Cougars. And now they'll get an opportunity against Dan Dutton, who's had some teams be quite close the last couple of years. But they haven't been able to get over the hump. Neither of these coaches have been able to get over the hump. Broncos reached agreement with former Jaguars tight end Chris Manhertz. Russell Wilson's career has been saved. Both quarterbacks, I think, had probably better passer ratings than the 2 QBs in the last game, but I think the 2 QBs there were better, even though they both turned the ball over multiple times. Mac Jones played dink and dunk ball all day, and to his credit, it worked, while Aaron Rodgers was just kind of bleh. This might be the worst 107 passer rating game I think I've ever seen. Both teams ran the ball well, though. Both defenses were a lot better than the 2 teams in the first game. The 2 teams in the first game had a lot of turnovers, but their defense didn't consistently make plays. Marcus Epps played 1,058 defensive snaps. Holy moly. I guess he's not really a rotation player, is he? That's a little bit more than rotational, isn't it? All right, before we wrap things up, we can look at the Pro Bowlers and we can look at the X Factors. I don't think the X Factors are broken anymore. That was OFL 22. I think we can actually look at them this time. It was Carson Wentz's fault. That's right. You guys had Carson Wentz. I forgot about that. View Pro Bowl roster.